everybody. Thanks for watching. Now, I wanted to touch on a couple things a lot of people have been concerned with recently, namely net neutrality. I've been getting a lot of questions about that, and it's something that a lot of people are starting to come into the understanding about how the internet actually works, especially since 2014, Obama administration, when he basically passed this whole law to basically, have net neutrality, to basically make it so that the internet service providers cannot, make one site faster than the other based upon its content. So just because, Netflix is making a lot of money, they can't slow down Netflix speed. And, one of the things that they have to regulate is what you buy as far as internet speed. And they figured that would be enough. If you want faster internet, pay for it. So at least faster internet will be available to consumers, and we won't have to really worry about certain sites being slower than the other. If a site is slower, or your download or upload speed is fast or slow based upon the service that you pay for. Now, if they repeal net neutrality, what they can do, if they get rid of the whole thing, is they can make it so no matter what you're paying, certain sites will be slower or faster than others. So this is a big deal if you do a lot of streaming, and this is a big deal if a corporation, a company like Comcast or what have you, owned by Universal, or part of Universal, and all these other corporations that Intel, Disney, and what have you, what they can do is they can really slow down sites of their competitors if they want to. So net neutrality is important, and it's important for people like me and others who speak out and have a lot of conscious websites. We don't want our websites being slowed down because of the content that we put out. Now, all that being said, what I want to tell you is, it's all bullshit anyway. And it always seems to lead that way when we get into these type of things. You start to realize that it's all smoke and mirrors, because these people can already really inflict control on the sites. I have proven that myself. This is what I talked about before. I told you guys that they can go in and regulate who sees what. So, it still would be, to me, the same as slowing down your speed if they can control who sees what. So basically, a lot of these platforms like YouTube and Facebook can really control who sees content, who sees what you post. This is why they offer advertising. So you can advertise to the people, to basically everybody on Facebook, or as many people as you pay for. This is why they have that, because they can control who sees what. As I said before, this is why MySpace basically completely switched up and changed everything, because before, if you remember, on MySpace, you had people with 100,000 friends, millions of friends, and you had so many people that can see your content and what you put out, and everybody was able to see, what you posted for a while. That ceased because they understood the advertising capability a person would have with that many friends and followers. So that was stopped when Facebook came along, remember, and still to this day, you can only have but so many friends. I think the limit is 5,000. So if you want to reach more than 5,000 people or reach all 5,000 of your friends, you have to pay for it. It costs money. And you're not really guaranteed that everybody's going to see what you paid for. So again, when we talk about, regulating the internet or what have you, these people still, have a control over the situation. So what we got to understand if more, platforms come up, social platforms that we involve ourselves in, these platforms are going to have control. So it doesn't even matter if they slow down your internet speed. What matters is if people can see what you want them to see. What good is internet speed if nobody can see your content in the first place? So once you sign up for a lot of these platforms, you give them control over your content. So another reason why we really need net neutrality is so when we do go ahead and get our own websites and have our own platforms, we can't have them slowed down, by our internet service provider, and slow down our speeds for less than what we pay for. This is important. This is huge. So, it's one of the things that they're going to use to attack the net. The second one, if you follow me on Facebook, I posted and I talked about the whole voice imitator that they have. They have a program now where you can basically make anybody say what you want them to say, and it'll sound like them. You know, it'll look like it's really them saying what you put into the program to say. This is dangerous. This is one of the things they're going to use for, you know, security reasons to try to regulate the internet. Talked about this before, and I told you guys, they coming for the internet. They're no longer going to let us. They're not going to allow us to do this for a long time. I mean, I don't think it's going to be no time soon, and there is a lot of, you know, people protesting against, you know, net neutrality, repealing it, and they're trying to do this overseas right now in Britain and what have you. And a lot of people are concerned about it. It's a huge thing because it's really going to open up the internet for corporations and companies. You're going to have a lot of corporations you never heard of now becoming internet service providers. The only good thing about that will be is that, you know, we'll have more internet service providers and they'll have to compete. Prices should go down. The problem, again, of course, is they can slow down speeds on certain pages, on certain sites. This is not good. So, you know, if they want to repeal it, they would have to put something in a clause to where, yeah, we can get more people selling, providing internet service, but they won't be able to slow down anybody's site for whatever reason. So these are all things we got to look at as far as net neutrality. But I still want you guys to understand that there's so many things in place that they're going to use to try to hinder the internet. And that's a big security risk threat to the internet, is this whole program to basically change people's voices and get them to do and say what have you. Now, the whole net neutrality thing started when so many people was posting to repeal it. Now, this is what they say. You know, it's bullshit to me when you read it. But they're going off a bunch of emails and blogs from, you know, prominent people who really, you know, blog about this type stuff and them complaining about it. So they want to say, based upon these complaints, that they want to basically repeal the thing. The problem is a lot of these people who supposed to have sent out these emails stepped forward and said, hey, we didn't send these emails. You know, it's bullshit. So the whole fuss, you know, is fake. Somebody is sending emails and blogging and posting stuff that's not from these actual people. One of the reasons we know is because one of the guys' mother supposed to had posted something, but she was dead, you know, at the time it was posted. So anytime stuff like this is in the media and it's on the news, it's red flags. You got to pay attention to what they're talking about. Now, what you can do to personally try to help out with the situation is continue to share all the videos against, you know, the repeal of, you know, net neutrality. You know, continue to voice your approval for it, you know, blog about it, share those videos and those websites and people that's talking against the repeal of it, and just really put out as much content as you can and keep it circulating, because this stuff helps. Now, again, they're going to continue to keep attacking it, and we're going to continue to see them try to really take away the freedom of the internet. And it's something we can't allow the corporations to really get in there and control speeds, control, you know, websites. And they will love to do that, because then what's going to basically happen is you have your own website, which is basically your own platform. You know, people go to your site, that's yours. The only thing you're regulated by is the speed, but everybody has different speeds. As long as it stays that way, you're fine. But as soon as you have to really, you know, put your whole entire site up under a corporation, you know, that becomes a problem. Now, a lot of us go through hosting sites like GoDaddy or what have you, and we got to rely on them. But, you know, GoDaddy, they give you everything. You know, you have full control over your site, and they actually make it better for you in many different ways. If that is taken away from us because we have to deal with a corporation or a company and what they want, and, you know, certain content that they won't allow, you know, that's it. That's game. So it's really important that we keep net neutrality and we are able to be free on the internet. So now, next thing we got to get into is Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin, everybody's going crazy over it right now. I was lucky enough to jump in and invest in Bitcoin in the beginning. So yeah, I'm sitting pretty right now. But you got to realize it's not going to last. You know, anytime you got JP Morgan, Chase, and a lot of these Warren Buffett or what have you, a lot of these billionaires coming out talking against something, and when something jumps, you know, so high, so fast, it's a problem. I mean, just a year ago, Bitcoin was trading at $780 per share. It was over 17,000, for one share. So yeah, that's crazy if you actually was lucky enough to get into Bitcoin early and you actually was able to stack some money. As I said before, I got my last couple DVDs. I talked about how, I'm now able to go ahead with my website because I've raised enough money to go ahead. I put up a GoFundMe for over $350,000. I got about 41 people who donated a total of about $1,600, so $1,600 out of 350 grand. And that's fine, it's cool, but I found a way, and one of the ways to help was Bitcoin stock, and I was able to get the 350,000 that I need to go forward with my site, which is one of the reasons why I really am concerned about net neutrality, because it would affect a whole platform that I'm trying to put out, and all the research and work and years of hard work that me and my team has done to put this thing out, to get it to the point we got it to now. So now to have the money to go further, it would suck if they went ahead and controlled the whole thing. But Bitcoin helped out with that. That's cool and all. But a little bit that I have left, the stocks that I do have, as far as cryptocurrency, I'm definitely going to be dropping soon. And if you do have any, I'm just telling you, take my advice. Pay attention to the media. I'm not going to tell you when. I don't want anybody blaming me for the money that they lost. Pay attention to the media. Pay attention to what's going on. Don't hold on to those stocks for too long. Take your winnings and run. Be happy. Don't be greedy. You're going to end up losing everything because it's going to fall. It's not, it's going to fall. It's going to fall. Anything that rivals the dollar or is heading towards that area is not going to last too long. You see what they did. If they wanted to go ahead and start a war to keep, Saddam and to keep Gaddafi from messing with the dollar, then of course, this whole cryptocurrency won't last for too long. And if it does, it's going to be because they somehow got their hands in control of the whole thing and are taking it in a different direction, in which case, yeah, it might go up, it might go down, what have you. But with all of the controversy going on with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies right now, if you can't get in low, don't mess with it. Don't put too much of your money into it. Get in low to where if you're going to lose, you won't lose too much. You won't lose your shirt or your house on the whole thing. Try to make what you can now over the next few months. Try to before the first quarter at least, and I would dump it after the first quarter, maybe second quarter, and be done. So it's just something to really be really diligent about. And you have a lot of new up and coming cryptocurrencies that's coming into play that is trading good with a lot of upside that look like they might be the next Bitcoin. But again, don't take the bait. Do your research. Be careful. And pay attention to these major corporations and what they're saying. Because, whoever owns your Bitcoin, see what they're into, see what they're attached to, and if any moves by a rival corporation or they themselves is going to affect your investment. Don't get caught up in it. Don't get swept under the rug like a lot of people might be about to. And might make the right investment decisions, and it's really up to you guys to decide what you're going to do with that. But I want to touch on that briefly. A lot of people have a lot of questions about it, and I don't like to really tell people where to put their money at. This is not the platform for that. So now also a lot of people are still concerned about the Africans in Libya, the ones that have been supposedly put into slavery or what have you. Now, a lot of people, if you remember, if you watch the videos, I talked about this years ago, in the first video I put out on Islam, I think I called it the ignorance of the black Muslim. In that video, you can check that out. And in that video, I talked about Africans still being enslaved in Africa. This is something that everybody knows about, that they know about. You have a lot of on record church groups, Christian groups, who have went into Africa, who have paid mercenaries and paid, soldiers to help them to go in and free Africans from slavery, by the Arabs. And of course, because as I talked about in the video, a lot of them have been kidnapped and put into slavery and forced to do unspeakable things, forced to convert to Islam and all kinds of stuff. So you had these Christian groups going out basically trying to save these people, and along the way, I mean, they was finding bodies, and I mean, it was horrible, all kinds of mass graves, and you know, this is something that has been known for years. So what you have probably come to realize, those who looked into the whole thing and didn't just repost, is that a lot of the pictures they put up and showed were old pictures. A lot of the pictures, like the one with the guy, this picture right here, he has a gun to this guy's head. A lot of people thought he was a slave, but this is from the Gaddafi regime when they thought this guy was one of his, somebody who worked for him. And a lot of the other pictures are from Boko Haram. A lot of those pictures you see with people in large groups are Boko Haram and their families who was rounded up and set down like that. And a lot of the times you see the bodies on the ground, those were members of Boko Haram who was shot up and killed by many different groups. You have, you know, the militia that was basically trying to find them and hunt them down. Just regular people somehow got their hands on AK-47s and was trying to basically stop them. If you don't know about Boko Haram, I mean, they've been killing Africans for a while now. You know, it's been horrible what they have been doing. So a lot of those pictures that you have been seeing, you know, all this stuff has been a distraction. It's been a fabrication to some points, but slavery has been going on in Africa for a long time. To me, it never stopped as far as my research, and they already know about it. So for the media to jump up all crazy and come out and start putting these pictures up and everything at the time that they did, it was like, for what? This stuff has been going on for years and not one word. Now all of a sudden, you know, they want to come out and make this huge announcement and distraction of what's going on in Libya and leave out, you know, the other countries and so many other people who was going through, you know, unspeakable crazy things in Africa, you know, because of a lot of these terrorist groups and, you know, a lot of the stuff that these Europeans have caused in Africa. So a lot of people got to be really diligent about what they pay attention to. Stop just reposting without, you know, doing your due diligence, doing your research, and paying attention to what's going on. But a lot of that stuff is a distraction. Not saying that slavery is not going on. As I said, it has been going on for years. It's just really fishy that they come out now, you know, and start talking about it. So it's just something to be aware of. But, you know, you got to look at everything. I always tell you guys to be really mindful of what the media talks about. You got to really just understand. Every time you see something, you have to keep in mind who owns the media and what the agenda is. That's really the question, you know, when it comes to the media. You know, what is the agenda? Keep in mind, whenever you see stuff like this, it's always an agenda. The people who are oppressing you own the media, and they have an agenda about what they are telling you. They're not telling you something for your own good. It's for their agenda. So we got to keep that in mind and pay attention to stuff that we see. And I'm still shocked to this day that so many people believe, you know, what the news media puts out, you know, what they talk about. And, you know, everybody just buy everything hook, line, and sinker as far as what the media, you know, repeats and puts out and lies about. And we can't believe what they're talking about. We can't really, you know, dig into it. And a lot of stuff that they put out that is true, they probably caused it, or, you know, it's a distraction from something else or what have you. So it's really, you know, I don't believe them. I don't trust nothing that they say. You know, I don't trust the weather. I don't trust the time. I don't trust nothing that they put out. And I'm always cautious about when they're speaking on something. So even with this whole, you know, repeal of net neutrality and them being so concerned about it, you know, I'm cautious about that. We don't know if it was a Trojan horse, you know, if the whole thing is a setup for something else, you know. So, you know, it's tough. You know, you got to always kind of sort of be cautious about what they report on and what they put out. And, you know, ask yourself, what is the agenda? What is the point of that? You know, what is really going on? And I talked about it before. As I said, they are coming for the internet, and the whole thing with this whole, you know, advertiser friendly thing on YouTube was the first sign that they are basically coming for freedom of speech, and they're coming for people being able to put out content that is, you know, conscious and informative to the public. So I wanted to touch on these things real quick and, get people to really, just really rethink and look into stuff a little bit more. A lot of you guys probably know this stuff already or did your own research, but it's something I wanted to talk about because I get a lot of messages and comments about the whole thing, and people looking for the next thing, what's going to happen, what's coming. Everybody expects something to come, because of Trump, what's going on and everything we've been seeing. Everybody waiting for the hammer to fall. And I want you guys to understand the hammer does not have to fall. You got to stop thinking about this stuff being written. This stuff's supposed to happen, and we're supposed to just sit around and wait for them to beat us over the head with the bullshit. And you got to realize that your actions make a difference. What you do, what you post, what you put out, the things you speak about that they are monitoring is huge. So, they don't go a certain way because it's so much backlash, because of something. So even when information goes out, a lot of times it don't be the media that puts it out, it be social media. And the buzz on social media is so big that the news they have no choice but to speak on it and address it. And because so many people was concerned about a certain thing, maybe their agenda didn't go, as planned. What they was trying to do didn't happen. You have to understand that, your input can influence, it can change, it can make a difference. What you talk about, what you post, what you engage in is huge, especially now with this social media age and everything being blown up and, people sharing content and all that. What we post and what we share is huge. So a lot of us is caught up in posting and sharing so much stupid, funny stuff. And this is why, it's out there. It's out there to distract us and to keep us away from really focusing on content and, stuff that matters. I like when I'm on the timeline and I see conscious information flood through the timeline. I mean, people talking about stuff that really matters instead of laughing at stuff that don't. And, we're not really in a position to be joking around right now. We don't, we're kind of sort of walking on eggshells. We don't know what's really going to happen. That's how a lot of people feel. But as long as you stay engaged in what you understand is right and what's true, and you do your research and you put your energy and time behind sharing and, promoting and pushing something that's really going to help, that's really good for you and everybody else, then this is the kind of stuff that will get through or hinder anything that's really going to hurt us. So it's really important that you really be mindful of what you share, what you post, and what you put your energy into, because, a lot of this stuff is nonsense, but this is something that is important. Net neutrality is important. It's huge. And, nothing should change as far as the internet right now. I mean, they did a couple little things that I'm not cool with as far as these platforms like YouTube and Facebook or what have you, but that's what you get when you get involved with them. You got to get your own platform, which is what I'm about to do. So long as things stay the same, it's cool. Nothing needs to change. They don't need to add unless it's for the better. They definitely do not need to take away. So we need to really stay focused on that. I'm on it as far as me, because it affects me and my future and, your guys' future as well. So be mindful of what you put your time into. So, definitely wanted to address these things. So now, last thing I want to get into is the people who I use, the companies that I use to basically put out my content, put out the DVDs or what have you. Their prices have went up for whatever reason. So my cost has went up. So the prices on the DVDs will go up and the downloads as well. Now, they won't change immediately. The prices went up already on my end and their end, but I have not changed it for you guys yet. I'm trying to keep it the same way, at least until New Year's. But any new DVDs that come out will go back to the original price, as well as the downloads, anything new that comes up. But everything that's out right now will stay at that price, at least until, after New Year's, and maybe longer if I can keep it that way. If the prices go back down for us, then I will, make the prices back to normal. I have actually been, I lowered the price, as everybody know. I cut them in half. Sometimes I take it down to $10. I have always, jumped up and down with the prices. I tried to keep them at this point, but there's only but so much I can control. When the prices go up, they go up. There's nothing I can do about that. So, if you see the newer DVDs prices go back to normal, this is why. So yeah, I wanted to give you guys a quick heads up on that, so people don't be emailing me all crazy like, what, what's up with the prices. So the new ones will go back to normal. Everything that's out now will stay at the price that it's at till the end of the year, or maybe a little bit longer. So just want to make you guys aware of that. And, I appreciate the support and everybody who does purchase. As I said before, I'm not getting super rich off this stuff. They regulate, that whole situation, which is what I talked about before. So they control who sees the ads, who can use the links, who can buy what. So this whole thing with them, net neutrality and them trying to basically stop people from controlling the net, what have you, is bullshit. If you want a platform, they can control that platform. So understand that. And they have been controlling it for a while, as far as YouTube and Facebook, and controlling what content reach everybody and reach certain people. So this is something, again, that we just have to be mindful of and look into. And we already know what they're trying to do. We understand they're coming for the internet. And they just doing what they're doing now. Same thing they trying to do with gun control. Keep pounding it, thing after thing, false flag after false flag, and to no avail. People ain't stupid. They're not going to give up their guns. We damn sure ain't giving up the internet. They will get a hefty fight from everybody if they try to do that. So as long as we keep voicing our opinion and sharing this stuff and voicing our disdain and hate for what they're trying to do, they won't be able to do it. So we got to stay on top of that. And I'm definitely going to, put out as much information as possible on this whole thing. But, lastly, again, be mindful of your investments. Understand that, when you put your money in something and you invest in something, do your homework on it first. There's a lot of other things besides cryptocurrency that has been, really lucrative for years that, you can always make a quick buck and make money on when you understand the market. I'm just going to, I don't want to mess up nobody's money or what have you. So I don't really give out too much stock advice, because if I say invest your money here and you lose money, I don't want anybody crying to me. So, I will eventually talk about some things that's possible for guys to, people to invest in. And, it's up to you to invest or not. But this is something you should look into personally and understand what you can do, what you can handle as far as a financial investment before you go ahead and stick, your whole life savings on a cryptocurrency. Invest in something safe, gold, silver, silver dust, gold dust, weed, drones. And those two are quick ones that I can give you. Weed and drones. Drones are going to go up. If you know about any drone companies that has stock, invest. It's going to go up, because they are trying to pass laws to where the fire department and the police department will be using drones, and possibly soon the postal service. So drone corporations, their stocks is going through the roof. So that's something you can look at. But I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch and support. Appreciate everybody who's been supporting. And see you guys next video.